All right, so I'm looking at the first half of 2024 movies to see how we're doing. The box office is not back, and I don't really care about that right now. I'm super excited about the movies I've seen. We got Civil War, we got Dune Part 2, we got Abigail, we got Challengers, The Fall Guy, even Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was awesome. There have been so many exciting, interesting movies that I've just been pumped about. Every time I come out of one of these movies, I'm just so excited. I saw the TV Glow. Man, that movie did not come together, but it was so exciting. It was so interesting. I saw it with a friend. She did not like it. She was like, "Oh, that was good. That was interesting." And then, like 2 hours later, she was like, "I hated it." Even Furiosa was just really cool. It couldn't live up to what we were expecting, but it was awesome. So let's start going through the movies one by one. I kind of want to start with Doom Part 2. It's a safe pick early in the year. This movie is so exciting. Not only is it visually stunning, but it it talks about the very things in our society that we take for granted, which is leadership and charisma. It's an exciting, thought-provoking film about it. It gets you on the side of the leader, and you're sitting there watching this movie. You're excited by like how this man Paul Atreides can succeed. He is gonna do this. He's gonna do the impossible. He's gonna do the narrow path through. He's the hero, and then it doesn't matter because war is inevitable, right? And different people have different takes about that ending. People go like, "That was the only move. He had to do it." I don't know about that. Escalating, really, escalation. I don't know about that. Escalation really played a huge factor in it. I mean, are the Fremen in the right? Like, yeah, it's their planet. But it's a really interesting movie. We spend so much time learning about different people and spending time with the Fremen. It's super exciting. I mean, just look at this image of the Harkonnens rising up at the beginning. This is the first 5 minutes, and we already have a shot that is probably would have been the best shot of the first movie. It's just so perfect. The shadow on the foreground element plateau, and then the everything behind washed out, the sun behind, it really stands out. Yeah, and the military formation shows, it's something exciting about this world, and something we don't see in our military, but it totally makes sense for them to spread apart but while going up, so they're not clustered together, so the Fremen can't get them. It's really interesting, and it's so vertical. The shot's so massive and wide. It's incredible. Yeah, and then we'll go to Abigail for no reason, just cause. Abigail was this weird little movie that's just so fun. Who are just people. They act, they're criminals and they got all their past, but they work together and they fight and they squabble in such interesting ways. We got Catherine Newton and Kevin Durand as unlikely friends. Kevin Durand having a big year. I think that's him up on the top corner as Proxima Caesar. Just a weird thing that this guy from Lost, I was a big fan of him on Lost, just decided this is my year apparently, and have two massive roles in big movies. So that's really exciting for him. He was in X-Men Origins in a really weird role that like I was excited about at the time, and then saw the movie and was like, never mind, never mind, Kevin. But he's a cool guy, cool actor. I think he's really interesting. So he and Catherine Newton form this protective friendship, father-daughter sort of bond, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong about that. And it's just the most sad sequence of the movie, where she just murders him and then gets murdered herself. I mean, she's not in control of her body, but Abigail is just like this really interesting little movie. It's kind of like a typical January February horror movie, but it's like pretty good. It's entertaining, violent, fun, bloody. It's the whole thing. And Melissa Barrera is great. Angus Cloud in his last role. And then we got Dan Stevens playing this deranged ex-cop in this sort of slimy, small sort of way. A lot of the time he can play characters that are bigger than life, but here he's sort of small in a different way. He's menacing, but Yeah, but a little inward, and thoughtful, which is kind of in his wheelhouse in an odd way. But the action is fun. It's a bloody ending, super super fun. It's not that unexpected, but it's just a good time. All right, so now we're getting some other heavy hitters. Challengers. I saw Civil War first, but I'll talk about Challengers first. Civil War is no wait. Um, Challengers. What a movie! That trailer came out, and just everyone took notice. Even Tom. He was excited at the prospect of never seeing this film. Mike Faist and Josh O'Connor are these like two young tennis guys who are good but not great on the scale of being pro. And they have potential, but their personal stuff might get in the way. And Zendaya is the superstar, the next big thing, get all the sponsorships and dominate the circuit. And it's a really exciting movie. It's bold and inventive. It packs so much in and yet saves so much for the end. We see so much good tennis throughout the entire film, and then at the end we get a final bout that's incredible. I won't say too much about that. We get we get incredible performances. There's a lot of sexual tension um, between the three of them, and yet they're never together. It's it keeps them apart for so much of the movie, which, typical for these kinds of movies. It's this electric, alive, thunderous masterpiece. You get this whole sequence. The entire movie has this propulsive score. The whole movie has a propulsive score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They even wrote like an EDM song at the end that Luca wrote. I can't say his name. My lip it just doesn't come out of my mouth right. He wrote the lyric. The director wrote the lyrics. And and they're just like 1 and 1 is 2 and 2 and 1 is 3, and it's the funniest thing. I love it. It's like compress repress. It's just like so thematic and so simple. He just like sent them a bunch of phrases and they're like, yeah, we got this. And they wrote this like house album for the film. It's so cool. The volume is turned up. It's just exciting. You're hanging on every word. The tension is there. They're not speaking, and you're just waiting for the next round of tennis. It's as exciting as an actual tennis match at like Wimbledon or something. Um, the performances are great. The final stakes being set at the end of the movie are just so cool. I just love that we sit there and we finally figure out, oh gosh, this is what she bet. This is how they've bet their lives, and this is what it's come to, and it makes for a truly stunning ending. I'll do Civil War last, actually. Um, let's do Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes next. Okay, so this movie I only saw once, but man, it made an impression on me. The filmmaking here is so spectacular, and not just the CGI, but the framing and the lens choice, and just everything is told in the way it's supposed to be told. Everything is clear. Everything is exciting. The scene in particular where Freya Allen's character stands up and reveals she can speak was I'd seen half those shots in the trailer, and it didn't even prepare me for how good that scene was. That's how you can do a trailer. I mean, yes, it would have been nice not to have seen a lot of those shots, but even having seen those shots, I was not prepared for what the actual scene was going to be. So we get this group of characters together. We fall in love with this trio. They're two trios. They're the three monkey friends, or the ape friends, and then the travelers on the way, the scholar, uh, the young girl, and Noah. She being Freya Allen has this really interesting role, and we're not really sure what she's doing or why she's hiding who she is, and it sort of comes together. But we get this big epic movie, and towards the end we get this really satisfying sequence that closes out the film. And a lot of movies don't land their endings. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes really ratchets up the tension. We have a big moment that allows us to think, okay, we're nearing the end game, and it just keeps hitting you and making it harder and harder for our characters. It's a really fun movie. I love how they use the apes' personalities, like Proxima Caesar, Kevin Durant again, showing off his ape abilities on this random jungle gym looking stage. It's such a great scene. It's so funny because he's so clearly showing off and doing something that like any ape can do apparently, and they're all cheering because he's showing off. It's so funny. But yeah, the eagles are really interesting. I love that. I love where this is going. That this is taking on its own space. It's taking on its own space in the landscape of Planet of the Apes movies. It's not quite, it's not quite the old movies, and it's not quite the new movies. This is something else. This is taking Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is taking the technology and the filmmaking that was pioneered in the last three Apes movies and going in a new direction, story and thematically. Story-wise and thematically. It's actually kind of cool, and I can't wait to see what Wes Ball, the writer-director, actually I think he wrote it, but definitely the director, takes with this. It'd be really cool to see what he does. I really like that first Maze Runner movie. The Fall Guy, I walked out of that movie and was like, yeah, it's perfect. No, 10 out of 10, no notes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could complain about stuff, but like, what? It doesn't make sense in The Fall Guy? Like, I don't know. I just had so much fun, and every stunt mattered, and every stunt was fun, that to a certain extent, what it's aiming for, it nails 100%. It's not like some of these other action movies where it's like, oh yeah, but it was fun, so it's fine. And it's like, well, it wasn't very good either. So you don't let things go. But if you see The Fall Guy and you see how fun that is and you enjoy it, you're not gonna like, if you're open to that kind of thing, you're gonna have a blast. I mean, their chemistry is super fun. There's hilarious moments. The flamethrower scene is so funny. I was laughing out loud both times I saw it in theaters. The final stunt, the big showcase, is perfect. Like, I've never seen, I that may be the best stunt best executed and conceived stunt I've ever seen. Like, it rivals like the Jackie Chan wire stunt. Maybe it doesn't beat the cars from Police Story, but basically everything else. This is the greatest stunt I've ever seen. And at Magic Hour, like combining character and story, it's the best stunt for sure. So The Fall Guy is so funny. Everyone's great. Aaron Taylor Johnson's good. Rebecca from Ted Lasso, so fun. Nihilism being the candy, the sweet bacon, is so funny and so true. Everyone's like, I'm so nihilistic. It's so cool to be nihilistic. And it's just, everyone's nihilistic. Who cares? They have like 5 almost perfect stunts. But that one with the helicopter is just unbelievable. All right, so now we're coming to the last film. Now we're here. We've made it. We've succeeded. You've listened to me. Dear God in heaven, help you. Dear God in heaven, help you. But Civil War is unbelievable. Oh my God. The combination of tension and thematic chills I was receiving throughout the entire, I was feeling these chills throughout the whole movie, that everything was lining up. The questions that the reporters were asking, the conversations they were having, the tension, the tone, it all fit into one cohesive narrative that really spoke to me. I could not believe what I was watching. This was as close to a perfect film as I've ever seen from a thematic sense. I just never saw anything out of place. The entire movie going from beginning to end is all about sensitivity and desensitization. Not sure if that's a word, but we're gonna let that go. Um, we we find uh, desensitization, so the way this movie is shot is just unbelievable. It's shot wide, it's shot close, but mostly it allows people to stand in the space. We get a sense of the world. We're not stuck in overs. In we're not stuck in these tight shots where you can see a lot of the person but not much of the background. We see the world we're in. We see the environment. We get meet all these interesting people on the way to DC. Jesse Plemons steals the movie with no time to prepare, which is crazy. Um, he got the role like a week filled in, stole the movie. Everyone, yeah. Um, that last sequence of just showing the pure horror, or no, that last sequence of just showing the pure scale of what a battle in DC would look like. In the modern age, and just a touch or taste of it was this taboo, this exciting, engaging. I don't know how to put it. It's just gripping, and seeing everyone's reactions and catching our characters. Kaylee Spaney, I think that's how you say her name, was just like unbelievable. And Wagner Moura from Brazil, those Brazilian action movies, like Elite Squad, I think he was in. He plays this undercover cop. It's a really good movie. He's a great actor, and it was super exciting to see him in a movie like this. But he gave the performance of the year for me. That scene by the tanks where he's just freaking out. So many people try that scene. So many people do that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've never seen it done better. I could feel everything from him. He just did not hold anything back in that sequence. When, well, if you've seen it, but, I won't spoil it because I recommend this movie wholeheartedly. I understand that some people find that it's not clear enough with the politics, or understanding, but if you're looking at demographics, California and Texas not too far apart. There's some obvious distinctions, and some big swings between the two. But if you look at, you can see the similarities. But also, the movie opens with someone saying, "This is the most historic." This is the most historic military campaign victory in the history of military campaigns. And then we find out like 2 scenes later he's about to lose. It's just so clear what the movie is saying about rulers and dictators and the world we live in. Is so fun to mull over. It's not if you think about it, yeah, it makes sense. Everything works, but you have to feel it. You have to experience it and feel through the eyes of other people and the shoes and the feet, and walk in these people's roles. But man, Civil War was an incredible film. I saw it twice in theaters. I literally saw it at like 10 in the morning because it was the only time I could see it before it was out of theaters. On my second viewing, I had to see it again, and the ending did not disappoint. Those final, 5 shots, the last minute, is some of the most brilliant storytelling I've ever seen to really capture an iconic moment like that and put it in context of the last 15 years. Specifically, one major event that happened, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, that really says something about who we are as people and how primal it is, and how what we think is determined by our biases and our current circumstances, and that affects our views on the same subjects decades apart. I just can't say enough good things about Civil War. I can talk more about all these movies. I just wanted to give a rundown of why I think the movies are back. We saw some exciting movies. Hopefully next year we'll get more exciting movies. All in all, a good year so far. Slim, but solid. You get the slim solid sort of. Okay, that's